What do we know, everybody? Well, it is a little too wet to plant, so I was going to go out and mow some things here today sometime. Well, the boss man went out yesterday to try to mow, and we got a rattling noise. Well, first we thought since we put new blades on there, maybe they were hitting something or out of balance or whatever, but that wasn't the case. So we searched all around, and we oiled some stuff and everything else, and spun the bearings, didn't think of anything, and we still had it. So we did a little bit of research and figured out we were checking these bearings the wrong way on the mower deck. These spindle bearings, we were checking them like we would check them on a tractor, where you check for movement. If it wobbles really bad back and forth, your bearings are shot. If it don't move at all, your bearings are shot. Well, on these on the deck, I found out that you spin them and you listen for noise. And so using that method, we found two, and it'd be what I would call the idler pulley and the tensioner pulley. And we got to get these off. We got to run into Deere and get a couple others. Now, the smart thing to do would be to take this deck off. But if I take the deck off, I have to put it back on. And I don't have any fancy way of really doing a whole lot here. We got a little bit of noise, a little bit of movement. So we'll replace this one just as a safeguard. And then our tensioner, see if I can see. Yeah, you can't really tell what the angle I got to do, but the tensioner, it's louder and it got a little more play in it. Now, if it was on a tractor and implement, we wouldn't worry about it too much, but on here, we're just going to go ahead and replace it. Now, I'm not sure how these come off. I really don't. I don't know if I pulled the nut off and they'll slip up, or if I got something down below I got to put a wrench on. I don't have a clue. So it's going to be trial and error for me to figure this out. Well, we made it back from our Deere dealer, and I came back with one pulley. There's a reason for that. Once I got, I guess I'd call them dust caps off of both of those, I moved them again. And that idler pulley, well, that nut come off real easy. And so that's why I did it that way. And there's really no noise without that dust cap on there. The other one on the tensioner does have some noise. So we just got the one pulley for the tensioner. We'll see how that works. It should work just fine. I'm guessing that dust cap, that nut on that dust cap was loose on the idler pulley, but we'll figure it out here soon enough. This is our pulley. See the bearing in the center. See these little rivets are flat. That's your top side. The extended ones are your bottom. And on your bottom, you got this little piece, little bushing. Go right in the center. That's what your bolt goes through. This will rest on the bearing so the bearing can spin, or so your pulley can spin freely. But it goes right down there on the tensioner. And you see the tensioner has the spring on it. The spring hooks to that piece, just slips around it. So you pull that spring off. You can move this exactly where you want it. Make it easy to get it off. Simple. First thing I'll do, putting this back together, put that bolt up in there. I'm going to keep my finger on that little bushing. I'm going to keep the dust cap on top. I'm going to try to ease this onto that bolt. We'll take the nut. Get her started. One bit of information, just one. Always remember which way your belt is supposed to be routed. Remember that before you start taking stuff off. All the work I did on semis, I always ended up taking pictures of them so I could remember it. And on a semi or a car, it's not all that difficult because you can see which ends are your grooved part's supposed to be on and which end's supposed to be smooth. And it's pretty simple to figure out. These pulleys, they all got the grooves in them, so it's a little more difficult. And you can't really take a picture of it to figure it out with the deck still on there. but it's not all that hard to determine. You can see which way your blades are supposed to go, so on, so forth. So just a pointer. If you're not very good with this and you're going to try to do this yourself, remember how your belt's supposed to run. It'll save you a lot of trouble and save you a really dumb phone call to your dealer. Well, now you can see we got the belt on. Now let's go out and make sure that we have everything right and see if that cures the problem. Well, that solved our main problem, so that's good. That's very good. Now the only issue that we got is once in a while on the left side of this thing, if there's a little bit of pressure, you can tell the blade hits a little bit, and we could tell when we took the other blades off that it was doing that. It's not a huge deal, but it had been run into enough stuff that it kind of tweaked that just enough that if we bump something, it'll hit. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I think I'm going to take the pipe wrench and I'm just going to bend that out just a little bit. That way we don't have that issue. But the main rattling noise and everything else that we were struggling with, that pulley fixed it. So I think I'm going to call this quits here. I'm going to go feed cows and we'll go from there. But at any rate, guys, like I say, I enjoy making these videos. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, I thank you guys for watching.